That was meant to be a slow folk song when Carly Rae co-wrote it. But when a producer reworked it as a pop track, the planet went crazy.
Your song Call Me Maybe was top of the charts in 18 countries. Describe to us how your life changed after that.
I had grown up in Canada, spent my whole life in Mission in Vancouver, BC. And then all of a sudden my song was spreading to countries I hadn't even dreamed of visiting. So it was such a gift to not only get to share my music, but to start to see the world.
Your music video, I Really Like You, features Tom Hanks. How on earth did you get him to be a part of it?
A lot of luck. It turns out that my manager is close friends with him, and they were at a dinner together. Somehow the conversation of work came up and my project was spoken of, and I had been on the hunt for a male lead to be cast as the character in this music video. I had this concept of it being quirky, to have something unexpected like this older gentleman singing the song instead of me. And Tom heard the idea and he liked it and somehow agreed to shoot in the middle of a New York winter, which is saying something.
Did you have the same feeling about Call Me Maybe and I Really Like You before you released them?
All the music that I've made, there's always been a high in the process of making it. You kind of feel like, oh, the song, and you walk around singing it and you go to bed humming it. But I never really count on how the reaction will be, but there's zero expectation on that. Anytime that people have reacted to the song, it's always been a really pleasant surprise.
The new album Emotion is inspired by the 80s hits of Prince, Madonna and Cyndi Lauper. Carly was in South Africa to promote it.
Do you remember the moment that you wanted to be a singer?
I grew up in a family that was very passionate about music and showing me artists and taking me to shows, and I was singing nonstop. And I think it was around the age 7 when finally my parents asked, do you want to sing in this local talent contest? And that was my first taste at performing, and I was high off of it. It was such a rush. And yeah, I think there was a lot of kids in my grade who were changing their career paths every week. Like, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a veterinarian. And every week I was like, singer, singer, singer.
Do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
Yes. I was 9 years old and I wrote a song. It was a protest song, actually. I had a little bit of a hippie-ish mother, and she rubbed off on me. It was a song called Cutting Down the Big Trees.
Do you remember how it goes?
Oh, no, I mean, I do, but there's no way. You couldn't train me enough to sing it.
Your new album, Emotion, is finally out. What was the sound you were going for?
I wanted to make something that was 80s emotional pop. And yet I didn't really know what that was going to be until I wrote and wrote and wrote, and 200 songs later I narrowed that down to my favorite 17 of the bunch.
200 songs. How did you decide?
Well, it was important to me that the record was cohesive, and so that helped me narrow down a lot of them. And then, I don't know, I think it was just a big sort of listening party. I would ask my friends, label mates, fellow musicians just to kind of hear what I was working on, and everyone would vote and tell me their favorites, and that helped me kind of make my top list.
Moving from concerts to musical theatre, last year Carly took the title role in the Broadway production of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella. She starred alongside sitcom queen Fran Drescher of The Nanny fame.
Was acting always a part of the plan?
No, not necessarily. It's actually been an interesting new discovery for me. I was in community theater growing up in my hometown, but I think Broadway was my first real experience, like the real stage, I guess you'd call it. And it was terrifying. I can remember signing up and thinking, what am I doing? But then I met this incredible family who was ready to kind of just embrace it and teach me everything they knew. And on opening night, I was happy to say I was more thrilled and excited than I was nervous.
What does the future hold for Carly Rae Jepsen?
I'm actually looking forward to taking on the role of Frenchie in Greece in the upcoming sort of live production that they're putting on at the end of January. And of course, we're touring Emotion, the album, too. So we have a couple shows on the East Coast, all around New York, coming up before then. And then once the new year hits us, we'll be announcing some more dates for the rest of the world, too.
The new release focuses less on singles and more on being a full, acclaimed album. It's a bold move in pop music, and the critics are loving her fashion and musical style.